If you've been through a breakup and you're still stuck, you're wondering whether it's normal to feel like this or what comes next, listen to this video because I'm going to share with you something that will finally make sense. Perhaps you've heard that grieving or breakups, they go through stages. In this video, I'm going to share with you exactly what happens, providing you clarity, regardless on where you are in this process and what you need to do to finally move forward. I'll explain everything after the jingle. So this graph is something that I took online from How To, the Wikipedia of images, explaining the stages of breakup. And sometimes we feel it's easier to follow through when we see that we're going through stages, etc. So the ending, the shock, the denial, the anger. Actually, it's quite a few more than the one I learned when I trained as a therapist around grieving, which is usually 5 stages. Anyway, sometimes it gives that reassurance that, okay, time will heal. It's just a question of time. At some stage, I will go through those stages like everyone, and I'll feel better. Now, the problem is, heartbreak is not something you have to understand. It's something you need to train through. The thing with heartbreak, when you have this vision of, okay, this is a path, these are stages, you become passive in this process. This is the worst thing you can do to yourself, is to stay passive, is to put yourself on a treadmill, waiting for things to clear themselves, waiting for clarity to show up. Clarity won't show up. Call you uninvited, telling you this is the key, this is the answer. And also potentially thinking my ex will give me the answers. And so the thing is, you've probably tried no contact. You've probably tried to get closure from your ex. You probably distracted yourself going at the gym, doing yoga, etc., etc. The thing is, yes, it's helpful because it's helping you to heal, to soothe the pain, but that's not a question of capacity. What are you learning from it? How can you grow from this experience? This is the most important element here after a breakup. It's not so much about how can I feel better, it's about how can I grow, how can I learn. So of course, don't get me wrong, if you're anxious, if you're depressed, if you have a hard time sleeping, eating, it is normal to take care of yourself, to go no contact, to give yourself that space, finally regulate your emotion. But that's not enough. If you want not to, I was about to say to win the breakup. In a way, it's to win the breakup, not because you want them to lose, but because you want to use this breakup as the first step to your next life, to improve the relationship, to relationships you finally deserve. And so for me, rather than having a linear thing where you go through stages, you need to develop capacity. And I see 6 skills, 6 elements of capacity you need to work on. And for me, it's like kind of muscles that you need to work out and gain that resilience, gain this clarity. These muscles, it's a bit loud, this slide: containment, regulation, distancing, reframing, self-signaling, and expansion. Let me explain. Containment is about developing this ability to hold an emotion without acting on it. It's about like, how can you almost distance yourself from things? You could do that by breathing exercises. For example, when you're about to message your ex, they have this urge to text your ex. How can you breathe in and out those thoughts? Second element is around regulation. Is about the ability to soothe your body faster when things go wrong. It could be about cold exposure, breath work, finding ways for you to, walk instead of scrolling, etc., etc. Then it's about distancing. It's really around cognitive behavioral therapy. Observing a thought, right? It's your ability to challenge what's going on in your mind. It's not because you're thinking of something that is true. We are guilty of having tons of fake news in our mind. The point is to distance yourself, maybe having a journal to create that element of, okay, this is a thought, I'm going to challenge it, I'm going to look at how I can actually reframe it. That's the fourth one. It's how you can turn pain into pattern recognition. So what I mean by that is like, whenever you feel in a certain way, this is your signal. This is your signal that something interesting is happening. It's a signal of, okay, there's probably a story I'm telling myself. how can I change that story? So because you've worked on containment, regulation, and distancing, you have now this ability to model and change things, right? Rather than being on autopilot, the treadmill, where you feel like I just have to wait and things will set into place. That doesn't work like this. Then it's about self-signaling, especially after a breakup. This is very common of how can you regain that sense of validation without someone in your life, without that person, and finding that inner peace, finding that self-confidence. Could be around your habits, could be about your social circle. It's something that you need to rebuild from scratch. And then the expansion, which is about how can you bring more energy in your life? Right? Very often after a breakup, we don't have any motivation anymore. As I said, it's very normal to have sleeping problems, eating problems, because we are shocked. We need to readapt. Now it's your time to build and design a new life based on what you need. Be more self-centered rather than focusing only on your ex, right? So it could be around projects, community. So that's why when you hear the tips like go to the gym, you need to understand why it's important. It's not because you want to have this kind of body revenge phenomenon. No, it's about like, how can you find the rituals, the things that make you feel better? Maybe it's about like you looking better, and that would be one of the ways for you to love yourself more. But for me, it's more about like, okay, how can I focus on something? How can I feel the sense of self-efficacy in what I'm doing? Now, as I said, and you might have heard this, time heals all wounds. And this, my friend, is completely bullshit. Please don't wait for time to heal you. What you have to do is to teach your body what safety feels like. And like any muscle, you have to start small, right? To push yourself every single day, a little bit, incremental steps, slowly and surely. You try, you rest. You try, you rest. This is your path towards growth. This is what will dictate whether this breakup is something you can win or lose. Because this time around, you're active. Okay, you're pressing play on your life and you're taking charge. This is the right way. Forget about the stages. Build up those muscles. Take care of yourself. I'll see you next time. Bye.